ladies and gentlemen. Today's Rowdy Roundtable without the table, but still with my posse. Buck Fever, Buzz Cutler. My name is Bass Masters.
Does that mean you've deputized us?
Yeah, you're like Deputy Dog.
Are you Snoop?
If I have to be, Buck.
I'll be Suge Knight.
I'm Quick Draw McGraw.
All right, we're hey, Queestraw. We're talking NASCAR racing and memorable moments from 2010. We think back to the season. It's hard to remember all the way back to the beginning of the year, but we're going to do it anyway. Buck Fever, what's your most memorable moment of 2010?
Well, let's go back to the beginning of the year, to the Daytona 500. We had an incredible race going, lots of passing, just a great race, and then all of a sudden, boom, pothole in the middle of the racetrack.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah, in the middle of the racetrack, in the middle of the race. And the thing was, it was such a great speed weeks. I mean, the racing was fantastic all week. And everyone's talking about, oh, this track is so great. It's all old and worn out and slick, and handling is such a big deal.
And Junior looked good.
Junior even looked good. And it was just a great week of racing leading up to a great finish. And then you had, what, it was an hour and a half delay at least.
Yeah,
and there were two delays.
That's right.
And what I couldn't help but think about is, like, this was the highest profile race of the NASCAR season. It was a way to start everything off with a bang. Casual fans are watching, general sports fans are watching, and it's a time to grab everybody's attention, and then...
And instead, we had a big mess. Here's Robin Bragg, president of Daytona, explaining the debacle.
It was in a dip in the track surface, and we have many dips throughout this surface, so it couldn't have been in a worse spot, and we're not sure whether we had pavement failure or perhaps a car dug into it and lifted the pavement out. We've got to study that. We've got to evaluate that.
And then, of course, we had Jamie McMurray going on to win the race and cry in victory lane.
Tears of a clown.
Well, they were tears of joy, Buck.
Yes, they were.
It was all Jamie had been through, but it was, in a way, it's just too bad that it had to happen that way with the pothole, and we're going to see some ramifications because of the Daytona repave. Should really change the character of the racing there.
It should. I mean, some people are saying it's just going to be another Talladega now.
Mini Talladega, and I think that's probably a pretty good guess. I mean, handling's probably not going to be a big deal for a couple of years there.
Absolutely.
I would guess.
Kevin Harvick calls it carnage.
Well, we're going to see. I think we are going to see some of that. We'll find out in February. Memorable moment for you, Buzz Cutler?
Well, my memorable moment, since we're going in chronological order here, is the finish of the spring Martinsville race. Remember, Denny Hamlin started 9th with 3 laps to go and basically just like a bull in a china shop, got to the front, bumped a bunch of people out of the way. Remember, Jeff Gordon was 30 yards away from getting the white flag before the final caution of the day. And so not only was it a great finish, but then think about all the storylines that fed into that race. Jimmy Johnson had already won 3 races at that point.
And had won the week before at Bristol.
Had won the week before. Denny Hamlin was scheduled for knee surgery the day the race was ran because, remember, it was delayed to Monday because of rain, and then he had to delay his knee surgery to Tuesday. Yet he comes out with a victory, and while we didn't know it at the time, it was sort of the start of what was a fairly dominant season from Denny Hamlin.
Well, he had a terrible beginning to the year. I mean, I don't know where he was in the points that day. It wasn't very good. I mean, he hadn't had a really super run till this race. Really, I think he did okay at Bristol maybe, but it just, people were going like, gosh, we thought he was going to be a contender this year, and now look at him. This really started the run because he ended up leading the series in wins.
I can remember before this race when he had said, hey, I'm going to be the team guy, Gibbs. I'm going to be the leader of the pack. And I remember just laughing to myself going, yeah, whatever, Denny. Didn't make that happen. This was the beginning where he actually proved he was.
Well, speaking of beginnings, how about at the end of the year, the big story in the chase after Clint Boyer wins that race in New Hampshire. On the Wednesday after that, I believe it was the Wednesday, NASCAR hands down a massive 150-point penalty to Clint and his team, sucks the life really out of them, and he comes into the media center at Dover to talk about it for the first time, and for me that was the memorable moment because I was sitting there looking at him and listening to what he said, and the anger and the frustration was so palpable for Clint.
It was so out of character because he's usually a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. He's funny. He's always smiling. And so for him to come in and be frustrated and disgruntled and angry, it was just jarring.
It also kind of shines some light on the car of tomorrow and the tolerances and how teams are trying to push in that gray area, how the gray area really isn't very big.
1/16th, it's the size of a quarter.
Right. I mean, there is a tolerance. I mean, there's a line you can cross, and we debated this all week.
Right, it was 1/16th beyond the tolerance.
Exactly.
I still find it hard to believe that matters, but it sure as hell mattered to NASCAR, and they were damn sure that it was a problem.
And it sort of froze the entire NASCAR universe for a good 2 to 3 weeks where we debated it, and we talked about does it matter, does it not matter, is it too severe of a penalty, is it not? Was Childress right? Was NASCAR right? And that's all we talked about.
It took a
Did the
guy
record do it, you know?
Right. It took a guy
Oh,
that
right.
we thought might be a dark horse, maybe not to win it, but to kind of be a factor in the chase. And ended up winning 2 races in the chase.
him
And
out.
took him right out of it. I mean, he had 2 terrible weeks after that,
And
plus
about-
150-point penalty.
Let's
and
hear what
was
he has to say.
Man, I have no idea. Like I said, I show up on Friday. I bring my helmet, my Hans, and I get in the car. Anything that happens from Sunday to Friday, I don't know. I know I was been working on my dirt car all weekend. I know we won the race this weekend, and it was a lot of fun. We led the most laps and won the race. And the guys work hard in the shop to bring, fair, fast race cars. Aside from that, I don't know what's going on. I just found out about it about 30 minutes ago when you did, so.
You also have to wonder, and this might be going a step too far, but you also have to wonder if maybe that affected Richard Childress's team as a whole, and maybe that's why Jeff Burton didn't perform up to his standards in the chase. I don't know. That might.
Jeff Burton had a terrible chase.
he had a bad
Kevin
Might be a
Harvick had a good
stretch,
chase. But if you've got some memories that you want to remember from 2010, just put them right down in that little box that's down there.
Like Elliott Sadler's Pocono crash. That was one that barely missed the cut for our top 3.
That was a big one. A big wreck with the engine flying out of the car.
Yeah.
So if you've got some moments, put them down there in the comment box, and we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about, should we reveal it? Should we tease it?
We could. Tomorrow we're going to talk about your biggest disappointments from the 2010 NASCAR season.
Besides you two
Not
guys.
including Buck Fever.
Right. Oh, I was going to put both of you in that
Oh,
category.
really?
Not enough turkey
I don't.
legs.
I don't want to steal Buck Fever's thunder.
All right. We'll see you next time on the Rowdy.com.
Big 3. Thunder.
Big 3?
Thunder Roundtable.
Thunder Roundtable.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.